Hi guys! We are kicking off this week the Paul the Apostle lessons from Right Now Media, so you should have your handy book with all of our information. And this week we have the first session called Culture and Faith in Conflict, where David Nasser is really starting to talk about how Rome in Paul's time was a period when they were a great influence in the world. Rome was the fashion capital, it was the entertainment capital, it was the center of politics, and America now is exactly the same place. And so really, David's making this great comparison between Paul and Rome and the things that Paul is saying to the churches he writes letters to today, and how we live as Christians today based on Paul's words and how we live into that space and place. So hopefully this will connect with you, hopefully it'll connect with your small groups, and hopefully it'll kick off some really, really good discussions. I'm excited to share this with you. So the next part of our lesson this week is the kicker. And really you have some options. You can take these slogans and you can turn them into a game. You could use them as just a conversation. You could even use them as kind of a trivia back and forth among your group. So one of the things I would recommend is Pictionary, which can always be fun. Have them draw either the place or the logo or describe out the slogan, and then they have to guess what it is they're drawing, or you can have them guess the opposite. So if they're drawing the slogan, like "Just Do It" for Nike, they would have to guess Nike. That's always an option. Many of you have whiteboards. You should have whiteboard markers in the packets if you want to grab those. The other thing you could do is stump the teacher. Let them look up slogans online and let them stump you with their own slogan or think up their own if you don't want to have them pulling out their phones. You can also just use it as an opening conversation and throw them out there and say, hey, do you know what this one is? And use the questions that follow up with the kicker there to have a good conversation about what advertising is trying to do and how that affects our culture. So there's a piece there that hopefully you can latch onto and use with your group. It's a good time filler. It can break up a conversation. You can use it kind of in the middle of discussion. You can use it at the beginning. You can use it at the end, wherever it suits your group best. The next thing here is the video piece. Intro to video and the video. If you're meeting at church, we're going to do screenings at 7 and at 7:10. They may be running just a little bit behind, but because it's the first week, we'll see how it goes. If those times don't work, we'll talk about moving them to later in the hour. We can do that. If you're meeting off-site, feel free to do this in whatever order you want to do it in. If you're meeting here, I suggest come and watch the video first. You may find that you want to watch the video and then play the kicker to give yourself some time to think. That's an option too. But the video is great. It's short. It's 10 minutes long. It won't take us long to get through it, but hopefully it'll kick off some good conversation for you. And the next part then leads us right into discussion. The discussion questions this week are a little bit of everything. Because it's our first week doing it, you'll have to spend some time figuring out what questions work best with your group, what questions you connect to most. But each of them comes with their own little kind of answer explanation blurb that goes with it. So feel free to read those to the kids if you want to do that, or use them just for your own information. That's what they're there for. The questions that come up that are really good to me are, how are Americans similar today to the Roman people then? It gets you to engage with what's going on in Scripture and with what David Nasser is teaching, as well as application to our own lives. And then the pieces that go along with the readings. So we go back and we look at Romans 1:29 through 31, which David mentions in the video, and then also Romans 12:1 through 5. And there's a great piece in here talking about offering your body as a living sacrifice and do not be conformed any longer to today's culture. Those are really good, great discussion questions that lead to good application. So I encourage you to ask them and see how they go in your group. If they don't go over, that's fine. There are lots of other questions. I'm not going to be upset or offended in any way. But feel free to check into that. Just a note, the top of this page says Intro to DVD. It's an error. Don't get caught up in it. The questions that are on this page are still part of the discussion questions, and so is what follows. So you have 3.5 pages, really, of questions that you can be picking and choosing from. The last section that comes up each week is challenge. The challenge session this week goes along with the I Need Wisdom handout. Again, this is something you can use with your group, and it's something you cannot use with your group. Really, it's just going to depend on how your group connects with things like this. The I Need Help handout was included in what they got, or I Need Wisdom, excuse me, is included in the packet that they got last week if you handed those out. If not, they should still be in your leader folders. So keep your eyes peeled for those. If you need extras, I have extras. But the handout really is just trying to get them into scripture, trying to get them to use their Bible and learn verses so that they can use them in conversation and they can use them when they're thinking about troubles in their own lives and their friends' lives and family. You may want to use BibleHub.com/concordance, and I'll include that in the video too. But it's also on your handout copy in your book. But the Bible Hub Concordance is great because it's topical. So you can go in there on your phone or on your iPad or however you want to do it and type in identity, or type in sex, or type in purity, or type in disaster. Any of those things that you think that might apply to this, or that your group thinks might apply to this, you guys can look them up. And it'll give you a list of all the verses that they think applies and fits with them, and you can kind of divvy them up between everyone and let them read them. So take that for what you'd like to do with it. It's a good opportunity to really dig into scripture and try something different. And if it doesn't work with your group, if your group is hanging on to the discussion questions and you're doing really good things there, don't leave it and go and do this. Keep your discussion up. Keep doing what works for your group. So that's what I have for you this week, guys. If you have questions, if you need supplies, if you're thinking about something outside of the box and you want help or support in some way, let me know. That's what I'm here for. So I will see you all soon. Take care.